This is my tutorial slash thought process on my traditional work. I'll be doing a oil on canvas, and how I usually start out is with a graphite drawing, and I had to go at it, got it on the third try. So my drawings in, I would have included that with this video, but if I did that, this video would have been twice as long as it is already. So I think I will, some point in the future, do a video on that, just showing my process of how I actually just draw the portraiture on canvas. But for now, after I get done with the portrait or the drawing, I'll go ahead and I'll lock in that graphite drawing with a clear acrylic matte medium. It's just a barrier between the graphite and the paint, so the graphite isn't bleeding through. Then I'll go ahead and I'll tone the canvas with acrylic, burnt umber. Let that dry, then I'll start in on the oils. Pretty much I'll start with my darks, getting all those in. I don't, at this point, I don't have a real good feel for where I am as far as the color, the correct tone, because I have nothing else in the background to gauge against. So I'm kind of feeling that I may have started out way too warm, but I will be able to correct this later on when I get background color in and I have things I can gauge against. And there are things that I see immediately that need correction, and that's, and by the way, that is why I do the drawing in the first place, is to minimize the amount of correction I'll have to do later on in the painting. But for instance, that her left eye, it's driving me nuts, but I know I'll be able to correct it later on. It's not a problem. And as you can see, I don't really blend. I do paint in layers. So I usually lay down color, one color right next to the other. I chose this time to go with a smaller round. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I'll start with a larger flat just to get the color in, so I can get things covered fairly quickly. But for this one, I wanted to, for the end result, I wanted a more detailed look. But this is how I always start. It always starts out this way, very well, for me, loose. And when I say loose for me, I mean there's a lot of things that happen in my process that I'm just going to make only an indication. And my battery died. Sorry about that. But you see, this just jumped to everything being filled in. So now I got a better idea of what direction I'm going to go. Whether the color I put in is just way too warm in the shadows, which it is, and I'll go ahead and I'll cool things down there. And lighter skin tones, I could tell it's like way too pink. A lot of things are kind of way too saturated right now, and those are some of the things I'll correct. But as I'm working, most of the painting is going to, I'll be working in the mid-tone range, even though now it really doesn't look like it because the contrast between lights and darks. But most of my time will be spent in the mid-tone range, so it's going to look flat for most of the painting. Toward the end, that's when you're really going to see the difference, where it's going to pop. And it looks like I bumped my camera because now now the canvas is tilted. I'm just glad it stayed in shot. And the way I'm doing the background, it's very loose. It's a lot of broken brush strokes, and if I had a close-up on the face itself, that is what how I lay down paint in the face. It would look like that. Nothing's blended. It's all very broken and side by side. Alright, this is where I'm starting to notice that I got way too much pink, way too much red. I'm going to desaturate that color, bring in more of the grays, and get rid of the real intensity. Just knock down the color a little bit. And I bump my camera the other way. Alright, I'm also starting corrections. I've noticed that her mouth, one corner of her mouth is kind of drooping. Her I guess you want to call it smile. The crease in her smile was a little too, it wasn't in the right place. I've corrected that. I'm seeing other things that I'm going in and want to take care of. Starting to deepen the contrast in the face. And taking care of some of the other mistakes I made. Arching the eyebrows, just those little things that nag at you. It finally got to me and said, okay, take care of them now. Get it looking right so I don't have to worry about it later. Alright, this is where the 0 or the number 2 round comes out, and I gotta start working on detail, making things feel a little more three-dimensional. And I'm starting to notice some of the areas in the face that are cooler than others, in the shadow area, and in the areas of the head where it's turning away. On the sides of the head, it has more of a, like I said, grayish. It looks blue as I'm putting it down, but when I mixed it, that is gray. It just appears blue right up against the peachiness of the skin. And my battery died again, but this is after about 15 minutes more work in the face, on the eyes. I've gone ahead and put in my the tonal highs. You can see the light areas are lighter, the dark areas are darker. Everything is starting to take on that more of that three-dimensional realistic quality. But I think I'll leave it here for now, and I hope this has been useful, and I'll see you next time.